Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Jacqueline. The name Jacqueline is a quintessential French female name. It's the feminized version of the French male name Jacques, which corresponds to the anglicized James from the Latin Jacob from the Hebrew Yaakov. The origin of Yaakov/Jacob comes from the Old Testament and is born by the younger twin son to Isaac and Rebekah. The Hebrew word Yaakov literally translates to at the heel, since Jacob was born at the heel of Esau, who was the firstborn twin. In Genesis 25 verse 26, Jacob came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. The Lord told Rebekah that the younger would be stronger, and that the older would serve the younger. As the biblical story progresses, the cunning Jacob eventually supplants his older brother by stealing his birthright and his father's blessing. Is he not rightly named Jacob? Esau asks in Genesis 27 verse 36. For he has supplanted me these 2 times. So the name's etymology is also tied to the word supplanter. Other theories claim that Jacob, and thus James/Jacques, is tied to the Hebrew word Yaakov, meaning protected by God. Therefore, the name Jacqueline has somewhat diverse meaning. Jacqueline has been in use in France since the late Middle Ages and was eventually adopted by English-speaking people. Personality of the girl named Jacqueline. The number 7 personality is deeply mystical and highly in tune with their spirituality. They operate on a different wavelength than the average Joe. Spending time alone comes easily to 7s, as it gives them time to contemplate philosophical, religious, and spiritual ideas in an effort to find real truth. 7s are wise, but often exude mystery as if they are tapped into something the rest of us don't understand. They love the outdoors and are fed by nature. 7s are constantly seeking to understand human nature, our place in the universe, and the mystery of life in general. This makes them quite artistic and poetic, but they are also keen observers with high intellect, so they are equally scientific-minded. 7s are charitable and care deeply about the human condition. Popularity of the girl named Jacqueline. Jacqueline first appeared on the American popularity charts at the turn of the 20th century. The name progressed in popularity so that by 1928, she became a top 100 choice for a girl's name in the United States. Through the 1930s and 1940s, the name maintained a strong position on the charts, but by the 1950s its appeal showed signs of decline. This would abruptly change in 1960 when John F. Kennedy became President of the United States, bringing his lovely wife, Jacqueline, into the limelight. Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy was of French descent herself, and her husband once famously exclaimed during a trip to France, "I do not think it entirely inappropriate to introduce myself to the audience. I am the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris, and I have enjoyed it." The audience went crazy. You see, Jacqueline Kennedy had so charmed the French people with her fluent French, flawless poise, and fashionable style. Jacqueline quickly became a name associated with grace, elegance, dignity, and beauty. The high point of the name's popularity came during the years of Kennedy's administration, not surprisingly. Nonetheless, Jacqueline maintained a position on the top 100 list of most favored girls' names for 75 straight years. It only just fell off the list in 2004, although it's still a top 100 favorite in the states of California and Texas. For all of those Francophile American parents, you simply cannot go wrong with an elegant name like Jacqueline. It exudes classiness and chic French style from its very pores. Quick facts on Jacqueline. Gender, girl. Origin, French. Number of syllables, 3. Ranking popularity, 239. Pronunciation, Jacqueline or Jacqueline. Simple meaning, protected by God, the supplanter, at the heel. Characteristics of Jacqueline. Solitary, intuitive, imaginative, mystical, philosophical, eccentric, wise. Cultural references to the baby name, Jacqueline. Literary characters of the baby name Jacqueline. Jacqueline de Belfort is a main character in Agatha Christie's 1937 novel, Death on the Nile, which was made into a stylish movie of the same name in 1978, starring Mia Farrow as Jacqueline. Jackie is part of a love triangle, along with her best friend, the wealthy Lynette, who steals her fiancé, Simon, from her and marries him. As with all of the prolific Christie's mysteries, character development is secondary to plot. Nonetheless, our Jackie is modern and intriguing, and holds her own in most uncomfortable circumstances. Popular songs on Jacqueline. A song by Franz Ferdinand, Jacqueline. Famous people named Jacqueline. Jacqueline Suzanne, author, Jacqueline Lee Bouvier Kennedy Onassis, former First Lady, Jacqueline Bisset, actress, Jacqueline Brooks, actress, Jacqueline Obradors, actress, Jacqueline, Countess of Hainaut, royalty. Historic figures with the name Jacqueline. Needs no introduction, no explanation, no biography, no commentary. She simply is. Born July 28, 1929, she died on May 19, 1994, and lived an amazing life in those 64 years. Born to privileged wealth with old-world credentials, she was both a debutante and a working girl of the 50s. She married into more wealth and brought a needed polish and class to the Kennedy clan. As First Lady, she reintroduced a style and grace to the White House that had been sadly lacking, and she restored the manse to its historical splendor as a symbol of pride for all Americans. She and President Kennedy symbolized youth and energy, and with their adorable children, became our very own royal family in the most democratic of ways. After all too short a reign, Mrs. Kennedy held a grieving nation together during the dark days of the assassination and its aftermath, through the example of her own quiet dignity. She had practically achieved sainthood. Then she went and married a little old Greek billionaire oil tycoon with shadowy credentials, and a shocked populace sighed what? An international jet-set lifestyle followed, during which time it seemed she spent whatever spare time she had from the yachts and private planes into Fanny. Nonetheless, we still hung on her every whispery word and clamored for more and more pictures and stories offered up by a willing paparazzi. This avid attention continued into her later years, when she settled down in New York with her companion and concentrated on her publishing career, civic causes, and her family. Probably the most famous woman of the last century, she was one of a kind, iconic, intelligent, elegant, and yet aloof enough to remain a mystery in the glare of the spotlight. By our feminist standards today, she may have seemed a little too much in the stand by your man mold, but there is no doubt that she made her own indelible mark on the world.